Okay, good day. So, I hope nasa mabuting kalagayan kayo ngayon. So, ito na naman tayo for the another video tutorial for week 1, quarter 1, week 2 in Mathematics 9, solving quadratic equations by extracting the square roots, factoring by completing the squares, and by using the quadratic formula. So medyo mataas-taas ang topic na to, so I hope you will enjoy this tutorial and sana maka-learn kayo. So shall we start? So be ready. Okay. So in here, this is your as what you have see, as what you observe. This is the actual image of your module. So start tayo. Then the front page. Yan, ito yung mga topics na tatalakayan natin ngayon. So this one in here, so ito yung mga learning objectives ninyo, ito yung lahat. So dila natin to, kayo lang magbasa, so you don't need to answer this one. Lesson 2, solving quadratic equations. Then you have your pre-assessment. So for your pre-assessment, kayo na ang magsagot nito. So you don't need to find the correct answer. Kung gusto nyong sagutan, so sagutan nyo lang. Okay, this one, let us start by solving quadratic equations by extracting the roots. So dito, this one, let's have first the first activity. So directions: determine the square roots of the following radicals. Answer carefully the questions that follow. This one, 1. So what is the square root of 49? So find the square root of 49. That is 7. So it means to say 7 times 7, that is 49. That's negative square root of 81. To find the square root of 81, that is 9 times 9. So that is the 81. So dun tayo sa lesson proper. This one, dun tayo sa ato. So kayo na lang yung magbasa. So skip ko na yung iba, kayo na lang magbasa. Dito tayo focus sa lesson proper. So quadratic equations that can be written in a form of x squared equals r, where r could be any real number and can be solved by the method called extracting square root. So this method is used with following properties as a guide. So bago natin to tatalakayin by extracting the roots, gusto ko lang ibigay muna ito sa inyo. This one. So in quadratic equations, we have this standard form. So any quadratic equation, meron tayong standard form. So I would like to introduce this to you. This ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So always take note this standard form, kasi ito yung napaka essential for this topic. Dapat malaman nyo, dapat intindihin niyo o i-memorize niyo itong standard form in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So ano ba ito? So where a B and C are any real numbers. Ito daw A at saka B and C any real numbers. And our A must not equal to 0. So, kailangan hindi ito magiging 0. So, next, this one. By solving quadratic equation by extracting the roots in this form, we have this x squared equals r. So, this is the value of C. The value of any value of C by extracting the roots. Ito yung focus natin. So, in here, A is the any real numbers and the value tayo solving quadratic equation by this one. The property number 1, we have x squared equals r. So, in this form. So, take note, in extracting the square root, this is our shall we say, parang ito ng formula o makikita natin in this form. Example, we have x squared minus 36 equals 0. To find the roots or solution, other term of roots is solution. To find the solution of this equation, so we need to transform in this form. So, para ma-transform ito, yung negative 36, kailangan natin makita on the right side. So, or just separate the two. So, you need to apply the additive property of equality, or pinakamaigi is to transpose. Transposing is not a mathematical process, pero kung mas madaling maintindihan, gagamitin lang natin. So, the right process is the additive property of equality. Ito, additive property of equality. To remove or to cancel out the number on this side, we need to add the opposite number. So, opposite number is positive 36. And also, if we add positive 36, we need also to add on the other side for the equation. So, to remove, just this is equal to 0. That's why we have this x squared equals 36. So, ito na natin in this form. Meron na tayo. So, after is we're going to extract the square root of both sides. So, extract natin square root of both sides. So, simply just put square root on the right side and square root on the left side. So, we have the square root of x squared equals square root of 36. So, we have the square root of 36. So, in here, you find x square root of x squared, that is x, and the square root of 36, that is positive and negative 6. So, extracting the roots, if we get the square root, that is the two signs, the positive and negative 6. So, after this one, we have the two values of x. Two values of x. So, ito, x equals positive 6 and x equals negative 6. Ito yon, positive and negative 6. We just separate the two values. Then after, go back tayo dito. Ito yon nangyari. So positive 6 and negative 6. After, we're going to check if the values of the values of x are correct. Through checking, so substitute the values. So, x equals positive 6, So this is the original equation. Original equation natin in here. So we have the x squared minus 36 equals 0. So question mark kasi hindi pa natin alam kung tama ba ang ating equation. So substitute the values, that is 6 squared, ganyan. Ito yung x natin, i-substitute na, nagiging 6 na yan. Minus 36 equals 0. So we have the squared of 6 that is 36 minus 36 equals 0. We have 0 equals 0. So this is true. For x equals negative 6, still you need to substitute the values. Negative 6 squared minus 36 equals 0. So, negative 36 squared, that is still 36. Meaning to say, negative 36 times negative 36. So, when we multiply two negative, so it will become positive. 36 minus 36 equals, so the equation is true. Next example. So ito, property number 2. If r, or the value of our c, is equal to 0, then x squared equals r has one real solution or root. So isa lang yung solution niya, or isa lang yung root na makikita nyo. So solve the equation m squared equals 0. So ito. So this is the problem. So in here, the equation m squared equals 0 is already in the form of x squared equals r. So r in real number. So in here, so m squared equals 0. So after this one, just squared both sides. Squared both sides. So square root of m squared, that is m, and the square root of 0 is 0. So ito yung sinasabi dito. If r is equal to 0, so has one real solution. So ito lang yung ating solution, nag-iisang solution natin. So our solution is m is equal to 0. To check, so m squared, or m is equal to 0, m squared equals 0, so substitute the values, so we have still 0 is equal to 0. So answer the equation, m squared equals to 0 has only one solution, which is x is equal to 0. Still solution pa rin yung 0. Next is property number 3. Ito, zoom out natin yung konti. Property number 3, if r is less than 0, so ano ba yung mga number ng less than 0? So we have negative numbers. So less than 0, negative numbers. If we have the values of r is less than 0, it means to say that that equation has no real solution or no real roots. So walang solution about that. If the value of r is less than 0, or the negative numbers. Example number 3, find the roots of the equation x squared plus 9 equals 0. So in here, we're going to use the additive property of equality. So pwede din i-transpose na lang natin para mas madali. So from positive 9, transpose natin sa kabila, nagiging negative 9. So ito. So x squared minus negative 9. So after this one is we're going to extract the square root of both sides. So square root both sides. So nagiging as what I've said, nagiging undefined to. So the equation x squared plus 9 equals 0 has no real solution. So has no real solution. So wala tong real solution or real roots. Magiging imaginary number ito. So talakayin natin what is imaginary numbers. So example number 4. Find the solution of the equation the second power of the quantity x minus 3 and negative 81 equals 0. So just follow still the value of our c here. We're going to transpose on the other side, then magiging itong from negative to positive. Then we have in this form. So wag nyo nang i-multiply to ha. Just simply subtract the square root of both side. So cancel itong squared at saka radical sign. Matitira na lang yung x minus 3. Then you get the square root of 81, that is positive and negative 9. Okay, so we have two linear equation here. So we're going to separate the two. So x minus 3 equals positive 9 at saka yung isa x minus 3 equals negative 9. So for finding the x, just simply yung negative 3 transpose sa kabila. So magiging cancel ito using the additive property of equality. So 9 plus 3, that is 12. Sa kabila naman, negative 3, magiging positive ito. So negative 9 plus 3. So unlike sign, minus negative 6. So these are the two solutions or two roots of the equation. So to check if the following values are solutions, so need to check. So ito, just simply substitute the values. So the x is 12. Excuse me. So we have 12 minus 3 raised to power 2 minus 81 equals 0. So 12 minus 3, that is 9. 9 squared, that is 81. You just copy minus 81 and still this is correct. And still this on this side, still the values is correct. So kayo na lang ang tingnan nyo ng maigi. So proceed tayo. Okay, dito naman tayo sa solving quadratic equation by factoring. So ito, so factor direction activity number 1, factor each of the following polynomial expressions and answer the questions that follows. So in here, hindi ko na lang to iisahin kasi alam ko na natakil na ninyo to sa grade 8 ninyo. So just review about factoring. In here, common monomial factor, ano pa yon, difference of two squares, ano pa ba yun, yung all about factoring. So kayo na lang ang mag-review. Okay, in here by factoring, I would like to introduce, or I would like to explain to you the in applying or in solving quadratic equation by factoring. Asan ito? In solving quadratic equation by factoring, we need to understand beforehand what is factoring. Okay, so review ninyo. So when you factor, ito yung numbers na numbers na ipag-multiply ninyo, is makakuha pa ninyo yung numbers na yun. So wala tayong example, so proceed na lang tayo dun sa zero product property. To hindi to zero property, zero product property. If I would like to stress this one, if the product of two real numbers is zero, the product of two real number is zero, then either of the two is equal to zero, or both numbers are equal to zero. So ganito. So dito tayo sa example number 1 para maintindihan nyo kung paano ito gagamitin. Okay. Find the solution of x squared plus 7x equals negative 6 by factoring. So we're going to solve this one. We're going to find the roots using the factoring. So steps, meron tayong step 1. Transform the equation into a standard form. So this is our standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So we're going to transform this equation into in standard form. So hindi to naka-standard form kasi yung the value of c is nasa on the right side. So we need to make this number as part of the left side. So using the additive property of equality, so simply mas madali kung i-transpose na lang natin. So magiging from negative 6 transpose sa kabila, magiging positive 6 equals to 0. Ito equals to 0. Then factor the quadratic equation. By your concept, by your understanding or your learning about factoring, so makukuha niyo what is the factor of x squared plus 7x plus 6 equals 0. So makukuha niyo. So ito yung factor niya. So just simply find a product of the 7, factor of the 7, then if we're going to add the two numbers is mag-result tayo ng 6. Example is 1. I know, ulitin ko lang. We're going to find a factor of these 6, and then pag i-add natin is makukuha natin itong 7. So that's why 6 times 1, that is 6. Ito yun. Then we'll get you need to add this one, 6 plus 1, ito yung 7. So kung na-review nyo yung quadratic trinomial as the product of two binomials, so ito yun. Use, or if we're going to use the FOIL method, so babalik din to dito. Proceed tayo. So after you get the product, so apply the zero product property. So zero product property, ano bang zero product property? Pakita ko lang. Okay, the zero product, dito property, zero product property ito. If this is our example, if this is the factored form of the quadratic equation, ito daw anong tawag nito, part of the factor is equal to 0, and this on the same na po itong part na to is equal to 0. That is the zero product property. So ito, so x plus 6 equals 0, hiniwalay lang, x plus 1 equals to 0. So after is solve for x. So x plus 6 equals 0, transpose sa kabila, nagiging negative 6. So ito yun, additive property of equality. So you just add opposite of that number and add on the both side. Negative 6 and negative 6. Ito medyo nakulangan ng 6 dito. Positive 6 minus 6 para ma-cancel to. and the first value of x is negative 6. On the other hand, we have x plus 1 equals 0. So additive property of equality, then cancel, we have negative 1. Upon checking, still you follow the checking. Next, here, so example number 2, factor 4x squared minus 9 equals 0. So first step, transform the equation in standard form. So in this case, this is already in standard form. So factor the quadratic expression. So this is the quadratic equation. This expression can be factored using the difference of two squares. Ito. So we have the factor is the quantity of 2x minus 3 times the quantity of 2x plus 3. So meron na tayong factor, then after is we'll use the zero product property. So paghihiwalay natin using, or we're going to equate to 0. So 2x minus 3 equals 0 and 2x plus 3 equals 0. So find the value of x. So additive property of equality, so transpose natin sa kabila, from negative magiging positive, from positive magiging negative. Then divide both side by 2, cancel, so remain yung x equals 2 halves, then negative 2 halves. Upon checking, so that's how we check. So that's all about the solving quadratic equation by factoring. So pwede ninyong sagutin to. Then what I have learned, sagutin nyo to. Then next is solving quadratic equation by completing the squares. So in here, find the solution. Meron tayo activity 1. So gawin nyo muna tong mga activities bago yung ating tutorial or ating lesson na gagawin ngayon. So find the solution of the roots of each following equations. Answer the question that follows. So ano to? Find the solution of roots, or you're going to use this number 1, you use the extracting the roots, number 2 extracting the roots, number 3 extracting the roots, then number 4 extracting the roots, number 5 by factoring, number 6 by factoring. So yun tayo sa lesson. Okay, what's in? Okay, dito. Extracting square roots by factoring are two methods commonly used to solve quadratic equation in the form of ax squared minus c equals 0. So itong extracting the roots. If the factors of the quadratic expression of ax squared plus b plus c is equal to 0 are determined, then it is more convenient to use factoring to solve. Convenient yung factoring to solve. Another method of solving quadratic equation is by completing the squares. Ano ba tong completing the squares? So the method involves transforming the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 into the form of the second power of the quantity x minus h is equal to k, where k is greater than or equal to 0, not less than. Then the value of k should be positive be obtained a real number solution. So these are the steps in solving quadratic equation by completing the squares. Ito. Ito yung steps niya. So in here, proceed na tayo sa example kasi dadaanan din natin to. Example number 1. Example number 1. Find the solution of 2x squared plus 12x minus 14 equals 0 by completing the square. So the first step is divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient a, then simplify. So what is the value of our a? So this is our a, this is our b, and this is our c. So the value of a is 2. So we need to divide the expression by 2, including the 0. So divide by 2, that this is 1, this is 6. 2 divide 2, that is 1 dito. 12 divides 2, that is 6. Negative 14 divides 2, that's negative 7. And 0 divided 2, that is 0. So this is our simplify equation. Next is write the equation such that the terms with variables are on the left side and the equation on the other side is constant. That's because so kanina yung sinulat natin into standard form, ito naman is separate natin yung constant. Ito the value of c. The value of c is negative 7. So transpose natin sa kabila. So we just copy the x squared plus 6x equals 7. So negative 7 magiging positive. So using the additive property of equality dito. So after matranspose natin is follow the third step. Add the square of the 1/2 of the coefficient. Ito na lang, mas madali. You identify the value of b. So the value of b is 6. And then you get the 1/2 of the value of b, or 1/2 of 6. So what is the 1/2 of 6? That's 3. Okay, you take note about the 1/2 kasi magagamit natin yan. So this is the 1/2. Then after you get the 1/2, then you squared. So 3 squared natin is 3 times 3 magiging 9. So in here 9, we're going to we're going to add 9 on the both side of the equation. That's why we have here plus 9 and plus 9. So this is our equation. So ano pang gagawin? So next is to express the perfect square trinomial on the left side of the equation as the square of binomial. So this is square of binomial. So kung the easiest way to write this one is you get the x and plus 3, then square natin. Kung ano yung makikita niyo dito pag kinuha niyo ng 1/2, ito yung ipa-plus niya. Then equals 16, or to simply, if you get the factor of this one, this is a square of binomial. Then after you get the square of binomial, then solve for sorting quadratic equation by extracting the squares. So we're going to extract the squares. So simply square root both sides. Square root both sides, remove natin yung squared. Then matitira yung x plus 3, then the square root of 16, that is positive negative 4. So in here we have two equations, so separate natin. So that is x plus 3 equals 4 and x plus 3 equals negative 4. Positive 4, negative 4. Then find the value of x. So transpose kabila, magiging negative 3, cancel yan. So x equals 1. Ito naman, positive 3, maging negative 3, cancel 2. So negative 4 minus negative 3, that is negative 7. So we have two values of, or two solutions, or two roots of the equation. So next is checking. So ito yung checking, tingnan nyo na lang. So we have substitute the value of x, nagiging 1. Ito naman, negative 7, negative 7. You just simplify. Negative 7 squared, that is 49. 12 times negative 7, that is negative 81. Then minus 14. Well, and now we have 98 minus 84 minus 14 is equals 0. Equals 0. Ito. Next step, find our next example. Example number 2. Find the solution of x squared minus 8x minus 9 equals 0. So, ang unang gagawin is, since the value of a is equal to 1, so proceed na tayo sa second step. So, hindi na natin yan i-all over the value of a. Kasi 1 na yung a natin. So, itong constant term, transpose natin sa kabila. So, we're going to transpose this one on the other side. Ito yon. So, magiging x squared minus 8x equals 9. So, from negative 9, magiging positive 9. So, after is identify the value of our b, which is negative 8. Ito yung gagawin natin. Yung negative 8, kukunin natin yung half. So, what is the half of negative 8? So, we have negative 4 dito. Half is negative 4. Baka nagkamali ito. Negative, wait lang. So, we get the 1/2 of 8. So, we have, kailangan to maging negative. This is a, I don't know, I guess this is a wrong example. So we have negative 4. I know, that's correct. This is correct. This is correct. Meron lang itong nakaligtaan lang dito. Negative 8 ito. So, magiging negative 4. So, from negative 4 squared natin, that is 16. So, kulang lang ito ng negative dito. Negative 4 and negative 4. So, in here, so 16. So, add 16 on the both sides. 16 plus 16. So, in here, we have the equation. This is the square of binomials. Perfect square trinomials. Ito. So, in here we have x minus 4, the second power of x, the quantity of x minus 4 equals 25. So square root both side. So we have, when we apply square root both side, remove na itong squared, matitira ang x minus 4, tapos positive negative square root of 25. So we have two equation. So, x minus 4 equals positive 5. X minus 4 equals negative 5. So, find the value of x. So, transpose kabila, magiging positive, cancel out. Then, x equals 9. Ito naman, from negative to positive, cancel. So, negative 1. So, upon checking, so ito. It's the values. So, next, proceed tayo sa last. So, this one. So, solving quadratic equations by quadratic formula. So, we'll use this quadratic formula. Okay, ito. You need to wait lang. Ito. Just activity number 1, direction, simplify each of the following expression and answer the question that follows. So you need to, as part of the activity, as part of the lesson of quadratic formula, ito makikita niyo how to simplify expression like this. So this one, just remove first the square root, then multiply this one and simplify. Simplify first the radical. So 30 minus 14, that is 16. The square root of 16, you get the square root of 16, and then you multiply 2 times negative 2. So kaya niyo yan. So next, dito tayo sa lesson proper. Dito tayo. Dito tayo. So what is it? So the equation we obtain in activity 3, doon sa taas, is called quadratic formula. So nandun in-extra kung paano kinuha ang quadratic formula. So for solving any quadratic equation in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, to use it, you must follow these steps. So you follow these steps. So madali lang yung formula. You need to identify the values of a, b, c. So just identify the value of a, b, c from the standard form. So follow the steps. Step number 1, write the equation in its standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. If it is already written in standard form, proceed to the next step. So what is the next step? Determine the values of the coefficient a, b, and c. Just determine or identify the values of a, b, c from the standard form of the equation. Then after you gather the values of coefficient, so substitute these values in the quadratic formula. So this is our quadratic formula. As you observe, we're going to as you observe, we have the values of b, a, and c. So to read this one, that is x equals negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So again, to read the quadratic formula, that is x equals negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So this is the quadratic formula. So we will expect that we have two equations in here, or two values of x. So meron tayong plus and minus. Isi-separate natin to mamaya. Okay, so fourth step, evaluate and simplify the result, and the last one, check the solution obtained using the original equation. So next, this one, example number 1, find the solution of quadratic equation 2x squared plus 3x equals 27 using quadratic formula. So our first step is write the equation in its standard form. So meron tayong 27 na naiba dito, kailangan nating i-transpose sa kabila. So magiging itong from positive may magiging negative, then equal to 0. So this is in standard form. So after you get the standard form of the equation, identify or determine the values of a, b, c. So this is our a, this is our b, and this is our c. So always yung katabi ng x squared, that is a, always katabi ng linear term, that is b, and the constant is always our c. So substitute the values. So in here, this is our quadratic formula. Just copy our negative. We have b is 3 plus minus square root of b squared. B is 3 minus 4, this constant na yung 4, times a. A is 2 times c is negative 27 over 2 times a, that is 2 times 2. So then simplify. So to simplify, just simplify first the inside the radicals. So dito sa loob. So that is 9 squared sa 3 squared, that is 9. So if we're going to multiply this one, so we have negative 4 times 2, that is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 27, that is positive 216. Then over 2 times 2 over 4. So in here, so you get the square root of 225. So the square root of 225, that is 15. So in here we have two equations. So isi-separate lang natin to. So x equals negative 3 plus 15 over 4, and x equals negative 3 minus 15 over 4. So ito yung dalawang equation. Separate lang natin yung plus at saka minus. So dalawa kasi to, dalawang values ng 15, negative at saka positive at saka negative. So simplify. So negative 3 plus 15, that is 12, divide 4, we have 3. So negative 3 minus 15, that is negative 18 over 4. So that is just reduce. So we have reduced by 2, so we have negative 9 of negative 9 halves. So then check your answers, the values of 3. So from the original equation, 2x squared plus 27 plus 3x equals 27. So value of x is 3. So we have 2 times 3 squared plus 3 times 3 equals 27. 3 squared, that is 9, times 2, 18, plus 9, that is 27. Pause muna tayo. Okay. Next is the values of x. So we have negative 9 halves. So from the original equation, 2x squared plus 3x equals 27. So you substitute the value of x. So we have 2 times negative 9 halves squared plus 3 times negative 9 halves equals 27. So just just simplify first. So we have 81 over 4. So we have 3 times negative 9, that is negative 27 over 2. So multiply 2 times 81, or ito, reduce lang ito. Reduce lang ito na 81 halves plus 27 halves equals 27. So still 27 equals 27. So yun, that's how we use the quadratic formula. So find ito, activity number 4, find the solution of the following quadratic equation using quadratic formula. So use the quadratic formula. You just follow the steps in solving quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Then what I have learned, what I can do, ano pa ba, yan, summary, and then ito, the assessment. So the last part of the module is the assessment. At meron ba kayong natutunan sa lessons? So, tackle ko lang to isa-isa pero hindi ko sasagutan. So, read each item carefully and choose the letter of the correct answer. Number 1, find the solution of the following equation. So, we're going to find the solution or find the roots. So, ano ba ang dapat equal to 0 to? May equal to 0. So, x squared minus 3x minus 40 equals 0. So, in here, hindi naman sinabi kung anong gagawin. So, find the solution. Pwede nyo gamitan ng quadratic formula. Pwede ba, ano bang pwede dito? Factoring. Pag completing the square, medyo mahirapan kayo. Factoring, tignan na natin. Factor ng 40. Ano bang factor ng 40? 8 at saka 5. Pwede. 8 at saka 5. Pwede. Ito, factoring. 8 at saka 5. Number 2. The solve for x of the equation x squared plus x equals 12. Pwede nyo gamitan ng quadratic formula. Pwede rin completing the square. In the equation of 2x squared minus 2x minus 12 equals 0, the values of x are. So, gamitan nyo na ng formula. Okay, dito. Numbers, ano yung number 4 at saka 5? Number 6, extracting square root. So, talagang extracting square root. Number 7, extracting square root. So, just solve the equation. So, ito. Next is ito. In the equation x squared minus 2x equals 7 are the solution. The solutions are. So, tignan nyo lang kung anong solution dito. So, that ends our tutorial. I hope may natutunan kayo. Mayroon nakatulong sa inyo itong video tutorial. So, see you next tutorial. So, relax lang, huwag lang pilitin, i-relax lang mind. So, kita-kita next time. God bless and goodbye.